Gonna be reading Blue Sky on my favorite holiday, Thanksgiving. This is my favorite holiday because I'm gonna tell you why it's my favorite holiday and why Thanksgiving was done dirty. Okay, like first of all, it's not about pilgrims. I just recently learned. I loved it before this, but I just recently learned that Thanksgiving is a Civil War holiday established for the devout and pious Puritans after the victory at Gettysburg. It's a Union holiday. It was actually established in marked contrast to the Confederate culture. And part of that is making a holiday in opposition to Christmas because they don't practice Christmas because the Puritans are very against anything slightly pagan. And Christmas is very pagan. It's literally a pagan holiday that they Romanized and Catholicized and Christianized, and it's all about ornate decorations, celebration. The most pious Christians consider that blasphemy, just like amongst Jewish people. The most devout try to avoid any signs of ornamentation or blasphemy or anything like that, right? So anyway, yeah, Thanksgiving is actually a union holiday, acknowledging the super devout Christians in the North, who, by the way, risked their lives to stop the slave owners. And Lincoln made them a holiday celebrating Yankee culture and smashing them slave owners, right? So they only started the myth that it was about pilgrims and a whole complete fucking lie that they gave us their land. Bullshit. In 1900, when the Civil War started to be like more of a memory, but the resentment of Thanksgiving, um, which at the time Lincoln wanted to like rally up and soup up and unite the Union against their common enemy, the Confederate rebels. So now that it was like 1900 and that was like 40 years ago, they were like, yeah, let's just make up a lie that won't piss off the Southerns who still hold grudges they lost. And that's how we got Thanksgiving's about pilgrims and Native Americans giving us their land, which was a fucking lie, right? So actually, Thanksgiving's really woke, and all the food on Thanksgiving traditionally, like cranberries, stuffing, these are Yankee foods, and Southerns didn't eat those things, and the Northern people had to teach them how to make their food, and the Southerns hate this holiday. Yeah, I shouldn't be reading this on Thanksgiving, my favorite fucking holiday, and I like it even more now that I learned that it was a complete bullshit lie. It was about pilgrims and Native Americans, because that makes the holiday worse because it's like we know that didn't happen. We know you slaughtered them Indians, right? But it turns out it's actually like the most woke holiday. It's honoring the United Union against the rebels, and it's all about Yankee culture. And even making it near Christmas was about Yankee culture. It's like, this is for the ones among us who are so Christian they don't celebrate Christmas. Here you go. And the South was pissed that they made this a federal holiday, right? A Union holiday, because they're just mocking us after they won at Gettysburg, making this holiday where it's in against Christmas for these crazy Christians in their midst who aren't like us, and they eat cranberries and shit and pumpkin pie, all Yankee foods. Yeah, so just notice Thanksgiving is a holiday honoring how we stomped the slave owners, and Lincoln made it. And it was meant to unite the Union in their common culture against these rebels who suck. Thanksgiving is the most American liberal thing ever. It was made by when the Republicans were good and they were stopping the illiberal slave owners in the South, right? And we only changed it to be what it is today because in 1900 we were like, let's throw them a bone and get them to stop bitching about Thanksgiving by totally changing it. But Thanksgiving traditions still go back to the New England area and the Union. Anyway, it's Confederate rebels. Yeah, it is my favorite holiday, always was, because it's the most pure form of a holiday. you make food, you get together with people you care about, and you just have a good day. I like that it's not so flashy and gaudy, and even the food on Christmas is just like cakes. It's like it's the most purest form of a holiday. It's good food, healthy food. Um, it's balanced in the sense like it's food and it's treats, it's everything. It's just celebrating life. And you get together with some peoples and then you go home. Christmas is like everything pagan, it's so easy to trick the human animal. That like because of Christmas's pagan roots, it was very easy for the capitalists to turn it into a shit show of abuse and exploitation. Yeah, like you know how they have all the Illuminati orbiters worshiping Satan and going back to occultism? It's because paganism is in contrast to organized religion, like Judaism, Islam, or Christianity. Paganism is more instinctual. Like if I eat your face, I get powers, right? And it involves less higher level mental functions humans are capable of, unlike the main organized religion. I mean, if you're going with a spiritual practice, let's be real, organized religion requires much more higher level thought and inhibition than paganism does, where people just make shit up like, if I cut this tree down and dance around it and sacrifice the goat, I get things. There's a reason the organized religions took over the world. It's because they ask human beings to constantly use their highest levels mental faculties to inhibit themselves, to think, to plan, to do the right thing. And that was conducive to making a sprawling society in a way sacrificing a goat and burning a tree doesn't, right? That's exactly why the organized religions that have those properties, whether they're Buddhism's the same, like think, inhibit, inhibit, inhibit. Islam, Christianity, Judaism, they all have those properties. Don't do shit that you just feel like doing from your animal instinct. Whereas paganism, the difference between organized religion and paganism is how successful it was long term at building societies. And there's a reason the spiritual practice we call pagan don't succeed. And when you look at the major religions of the world, every last one leans toward those traits. Think and inhibit, because that is how you make the most people be the most pro-social, right? And that's exactly why Thanksgiving is not as easy for the capitalists to mutilate as Christmas, because Christmas is a pagan holiday that they Romanize and Catholicize and Christianize, and it's naturally more impulsive, hedonistic, pagan-like. And so it's surprised to no one after a few decades, Christmas is about going broke, impulsively spending, and gorging on candy. And you look at Thanksgiving, it remains pretty true to form. You know, you eat food, but not too much of this, not too much of that. You eat a lot of food, but you're eating meats, you're eating vegetables, you're eating everything. You don't compulsively spend, you don't do anything like that, and you're mostly just with people. Social, pro-social. Thanksgiving is the most pro-social holiday. And that's because it's actually ironically the most Christian holiday. In the sense Thanksgiving was invented for the most observant Christians in the Northeast, in the Union. And Christmas was a pagan holiday that they tried to make Christian, and you can see the results long term. Like look at Christmas today and look at Thanksgiving today. That's because one was intrinsically pagan. And this is exactly why the elites make all their orbiters pagan. Because if you encourage people to have a spirituality that's less evolved, more impulse and animal like than the organized religions that encourage you to inhibit, to think, to cooperate, to sacrifice, which is everything about the main organized religions: Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Um, if you have a spiritual practice like that, you can make a much better society. You're more successful long term in a way paganism can't do. And that's why they have their orbiters go into paganism, because it's much easier to control them. Just like you can see in Society for the Bottom, people go broke and make a lot of fucking mistakes on Christmas. It's a holiday about getting smashed, impulse, buying shit. It's just so guttural. It's so the id the id, ego, and super ego. Christmas is id because it's the most pagan holiday we have. And that makes it very easy for the capital elites to turn it into something that harms you. And Thanksgiving was actually like an answer to the most observant Christians. And so they look at it like we can't do anything with it. Like there's nothing too flashy, there's nothing too impulsive. I mean, I guess you could eat too much turkey. But look at Christmas. People spend thousands and go into debt. They binge on candy, not even balanced food, candy, and then they drink a shit ton and they fuck. It's so pagan, right? And that's why it's so easy for the capitalists to use it against us. This may sound crazy, but I want you to try to understand what I'm saying. The nature of a holiday has a lot to do with the nature of the people practicing it. And because Christmas is a pagan holiday, it is not a Christian holiday. And that's why the most observant Christians didn't like it in the Northeast, who were making these sacrifices to stop evil. They made Thanksgiving instead. And you can see after decades and decades, the capitalists have totally failed to turn Thanksgiving into a self destructive thing. That is everything organized religion versus paganism, because paganism is all about your instincts, and it's less cerebral, it's less evoking the highest mental faculties of a human being. And that's why there's no advanced pagan societies, but there are advanced Buddhist societies, Islamic societies, Christian societies, and Jewish societies, because those organized religions, which de-emphasize doing shit impulsively, your instinct, and instead like thinking, learning, and inhibiting for a long-term pro-social goal. Those are the religions that won out to be called organized religions versus paganism. Yeah. And you can even see this difference in Christianity, where Christmas, the capitalists found it very easy to turn it into this disgusting, self-destructive shit. And Thanksgiving, which was inspired by the practice of the most observant Christians who did the least pagan shit, they failed. They can't do anything. The only thing they could do with Thanksgiving is use it to get you to be more impulsive with Christmas. So, like, over decades, they've used Thanksgiving, like, now you start shopping and buying junk food and drinking because of Christmas. But they failed to do that to Thanksgiving itself. That's why. Yeah, so it's my favorite holiday for that reason. It's the most pure pro-social form of a holiday, in that it has, and that the capital elites have found it the hardest to fuck it up for that reason. I really shouldn't be on bluesky today because I don't want to see these motherfuckers. I don't want to see Billy Stancil Bubba being like, I have a personal belief that there's just an insatiable market for hate in the bottom of society, and the poor billionaires' hands are forced. They're just providing free market capitalism. And the issue is the nature of the bottom. It's not the highly rigged social media machine that makes them hate common people and not them. It's the fact they want hate. It's like, yeah, emotions sell. Hello, that's why the capitalists have turned Christmas into a disgusting shit show, because it's so full of instinct and emotion that it's beyond easy for the capitalists to turn into something against people, where they leave in January with a drug addiction, an alcohol addiction, and a credit card bill of $20,000. That's why they like Christmas. That's why they encourage this self-destructive treadmill of impulse that Christmas encourages, right? Yeah, no shit. People have instincts. People and hate is a powerful emotion that can motivate people to not think and act. But what you hate is absolutely not universal. It is absolutely a choice that people are hating Mexican gardeners and registered nurses who sacrifice to help instead of billionaires who really are hurting them. That is what the control's about. Like, no shit, hate sells. So does sex, drugs, and everything. But what you hate is not innate. These people are hating the stupidest shit. They're hating like some fucking dude who's mowing their lawn, or someone who's fucking starting their IV. Who is there helping them? Who are they not hating? They're not hating the people paying you, who really are hurting them, right? That is where billionaire social control comes out. He's everything this piece of shit Will Stancil does is to confuse you, right? Like, yeah, it's because they have an insatiable appetite for hate and free market ideas. They need to be murdered in the Great Reset. It's like, imagine this argument if people were wearing shirts that say "I'm a dumbass," and everyone was like, "Wow, you got a I'm a dumbass shirt?" Yep, I paid $50 for my I'm a dumbass shirt, and so having a shirt that said "I'm a dumbass" became very cool. And Will Stancil and billionaire social media was pumping like cool, sexy people wearing "I'm a dumbass." Guy with a square jaw and a flag behind him saying, "Get your I'm a dumbass t-shirt," right? And so they had been subjected to that for like a few years or decades. And so people were literally walking around being like, "Wow, you got a I'm a dumbass shirt. I got to get one too." And Will Stancil got on there. Seeing this, that billionaires were like, "You gotta like pushing all these people to make a shirt that says I'm a motherfucking dumbass cool." And he said, "The problem is people need shirts. You can't be naked. Like you got to have a shirt on. It's cold out there. Get arrested for indecent exposure." So that's why I'm a dumbass shirt took off. That is exactly what Will Stancil does when he tries to brainwash you why it is people are in weird cults where they rape nurses or kill Mexican gardeners. He says there's an insatiable appetite for hate in the bottom, but he completely leaves out the point where the people who are truly evil and need to be beheaded, they need to be put on a little island, not one where they rape kids, but one where they can't influence anybody. Put on a little fucking island in a box and having no contact with humanity. That's what we need to do with these evil motherfuckers. Instead, they have all the power and all the control of information. And they have trained people to orient their impulse to hate and anger towards innocent people who, if anything, are good people. And he's saying the issue is people are motivated by hate, which is like if billionaires control social media and make shirts that say, "I'm a motherfucking dumbass, kick me in the face." Cool, which they could do if they wanted to. And they go, "It's an ironic statement. You're saying you don't care about anything. You're just like this hot model or this square jawed MAGA American First guy." They could easily make it a trend to wear a shirt that says, "I'm a motherfucking dumbass." And they'd probably succeed with a lot of dumb fucks, right? And diagnosing that problem, a bombardment, a calculated, rigged information environment to make you orient your need for a shirt to this. And Will Stancil gets on there and says, "It's because people need clothes. That's why they're wearing shirts that say I'm a fucking dumbass." And you go on social media that Elon Musk zuck shit control, and they're pumping these people to say, "Get an I'm a dumbass shirt." That's a lot like Will Stancil confusing you stupid fucks that the problem is the bottom has an insatiable appetite for hate. Hate's very motivating. And that's why we have this cult going. He sucks ass, and I really shouldn't be watching him on my favorite day. The one holiday that is the most organized religion motivated, so it's the least amenable to billionaire control into a self-destructive trap, unlike Christmas, where people leave that with an alcohol addiction, a drug addiction, a pregnancy, and $20,000 in debt, right? And it lasts now 1 month because of how useful it is for them to hurt you to help themselves. Oh man. Yeah, so lesson number 1, don't go on bluesky on your favorite day. And 2, Will Stancil still sucks and he's paid by the billionaires and he's a saboteur. He's a piece of shit. He tells you a little bit of the truth and twists it like some manipulative lawyer or fucking shyster scammer piece of shit. He sucks ass.